Welcome to the Real Life Podcasts with your hosts, leadership and personal growth author and speaker John C. Donahue and licensed psychotherapist Lou Carfisi. The Real Life Podcast is your weekly dose of motivation, encouragement, and direction to help you live your life at the highest level.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Life Podcast. My name is John. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, my good friend, Mr. Lou Carfisi. How you doing this afternoon, my friend?
I'm doing well, sir. How you doing? You doing all right?
I am great. We are the Real Life Podcast. We are glad that you guys are here, and we appreciate you being here. We are a podcast and a website built around trying to help people get to the next level. And if you want to find a little bit more about us, you can go to reallifepodcast.com. There you can sign up for our newsletter. You can find some articles, some podcasts that we've done. And each week we try to do a weekly blab where we do 20, 30 minutes of us talking, and then we open it up and let people ask questions. And feel free to interact. We try to get to questions in the chat room as they come up. So where can people find us, Lou, on the internet?
Well, social media, Facebook at facebook.com/reallifepodcast and on twitter.com/reallifecast.
Excellent.
You could also send us questions at reallifepodcast.com. And you could also sign up for our newsletter when you're there. We suggest that you do that.
Yep. So we're talking about life coaches and why do I need a life coach? We're flipping Lou is flipping the board on me a little bit. Last week we talked about counseling. Why do I need a counselor? And I kind of asked him some questions. So this week, Lou, be gentle, my friend.
I will try, sir. All right. So what exactly is a life coach?
Well, a life coach is somebody that comes alongside you and tries to help you decide if there's a project that you're having trouble with, or if there's some aspect of your life that you are, challenged by. Try to decide what the best next right step, and then the next several steps after that. My job is basically to partner with you to help you process through issues that you're struggling with, and just to kind of help you overcome some of those things that pop up from time to time. It could be something as simple as, I'm just struggling with some time management, and I help teach some time management tips and tricks, to something as difficult as, I'm starting a new business and I need some coaching because I'm really not sure what direction I want to go in. Can you help me out? Can you help me kind of find my way in that? So it's several things incorporated in being a coach, and I just try to help people decide what their next best step is.
Right. And you people should also know that John is a wonderful life coach. He's an inspirational guy, and with all of his experience in this area, it's invaluable. Also, I would think that you would be doing a lot of leadership coaching. Would that be right?
Yeah, absolutely. Every weekday at 10:30-ish, I try to make sure that it's early morning for the West Coast as well. I do a morning motivator where I talk directly to people through social media about leadership in life. I deal with a lot of issues with people who are struggling with, how to become a better leader, how to lead themselves, how to lead other people. And those morning motivators really kind of are one of the starting points to really getting into the coaching. So I deal with that as well. And leading yourself is often more challenging than leading other people.
Yeah. So this would go for in your regular life, but also in business and in your work.
Right.
I guess it would impact that as well, right?
Yeah. Well, you really kind of got to look at it this way. If your goal is to try to lose a lot of weight, you're going to hire somebody to come along and coach you. You're going to hire a trainer. So you're going to get somebody that's going to help you with not only the fitness, but they're also going to help with your diet. They're going to help with your motivation by basically motivating you to stay on the treadmill for a little longer or push through those weight reps. And they're going to help assist you to provide another way of motivating you. And that's their goal. So if you look at it like that, then what I do is I come in and try to help you process through those challenges that you have. I help with everyday issues all the way through business issues. I deal with a lot of relationship issues, just try to coach you through whatever challenges you have. So in a lot of ways, I'm like a trainer, but really with just life and business issues.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm having a problem with my boss, or if I'm having a problem with some coworkers at work, and I have I don't know what to do about it. There's nothing I can say or do that seems to make a difference. Would you be able to help me with something like that?
Absolutely. We would sit down and we would look at the full 360 degrees of what's going on. We'll look at the people that you report to, the people that report to you, and the people that you work alongside of. And I would listen to what the challenges you're facing at work are. And then we would come up with a plan of how you're going to communicate to the people that you're having difficulty with, making sure that your bosses, if it's your boss, we'll talk to them if we have to, make a plan and start working through that plan, set some benchmarks for where you'd like to be and how to see if it's effective. And then, as we go through the process, if we need to adjust it, we can. But I do that kind of thing a lot. And dealing with bosses, dealing with work issues, I've had a lot of experience with some positive and negative. So I think the experience that I bring and the education that I've built on myself will come in very handy. And so I just try to help, tear down those walls that we build in our heads so that we can see the best route to go and to get the most effective change and make sure that everybody is leading up in the process.
Okay. I kind of get that. I understand what the format is, but what is it like? Tell me some of the things that would go on in a coaching scenario.
Right. So what would normally go on in a coaching session is you and I would find a time that's convenient for both of us. And we have a couple of different options. We can do it virtually. So like if you're on the other side of the country and I'm here in Florida, we could do it virtually through a Google Hangout or Skype or FaceTime, whatever is most convenient for you and for me. And we would schedule a time each week to meet. Now, if you're local and it makes sense, we could meet somewhere like a Starbucks, or I could come to your office, or whatever makes the most sense for your and my schedule. And so we would set aside a time, usually 30 to 45 minutes, and we would process through what challenges you have. I would listen to what you are struggling with, and then I would give you some next steps. So I basically give homework. And sometimes that homework can be, question and answer. I give you some questions that you have to process through at home. It might be a few chapters in a book. We're going to process through a book because there's a lot of great reading material out there that speaks to very specific situations. If you're having trouble with a coworker because you're not setting up great boundaries, I've got a couple of wonderful books that I suggest, and we'll go through them together. And then we can take real world situations and I can speak into those and show you, this is what you said and this is what the other person said. Now, do you see where, you should have said this, or maybe it would have made more sense if you had said this and maybe a little differently? That's one scenario. Another scenario might be I give you some materials that I've created to process through. If you're dealing with time management, I've got a great time management system that I would love to get you onto. If you're dealing with goals and you just don't understand how to set goals, I have a great document that I work through with you and help you to create those goals. And so we would do this a couple of times, start implementing some changes, and over the course of a month or two, we start seeing if those changes are having an effect. And you don't have to stay in life coaching forever. It's just until you start seeing the changes, until you feel like you can keep those changes going on your own. And then I could just check in from time to time and bow out. It's not something that once you start, you're in forever.
But, the way your approach to this is very interesting, because it would be important for me, if I was having trouble with my boss, for a third party, to go in and take a look. What did you say? What did he or she say? where is the problem lie in that? And you'd be able to point that out and almost be a partner in some of the issues that we experience. But you spoke about talking online and a couple of venues that you could use to talk online. Will this remain confidential, or is my information going to go, somebody could listen, or is there something, what can you do about that?
Right. Any conversation that we have is going to be confidential, because there's a lot of people that would have maybe a hang up on being coached. Some people don't want, for professional reasons, for other people to know they're being coached, because there might be a perceived stigma, or some people have just a thing about being coached, and they're very nervous about it getting out. I understand that. So any conversation that you and I would have would absolutely 100% be confidential. Nobody is brought into a situation. There's times, Lou, because you're a counselor, if you know that somebody's going to do something to harm themselves, you're required to contact somebody that can help them not hurt themselves or other people, correct?
Right.
I don't think I would have a situation like that. But if there was a situation where somebody might hurt somebody or hurt themselves, yes, I would have to. Morally, I would have to. But for the most part, most of the issues that I'm dealing with aren't going to be to that level of extreme. So everything is 100% between you and myself. I don't keep video copies of anything. I keep notes, but I don't share those notes with anybody. And most of the time, when we're like at a Starbucks, we're sitting across the table from each other, and it's a public place. We don't get too deep into anything, that would be disruptive or that you wouldn't want anybody else to know. But I keep everything very private because, again, I want to make sure that you're comfortable. And if you feel like that everything that you're saying is going out to other people, you're not going to be comfortable, and you're not going to share and open up and be vulnerable enough to allow me to coach you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's a little bit like a therapy session, but it actually is not a therapy session.
Correct. Yeah,
okay.
It's very similar in the sense that you're coming to me for some assistance, and you're going to share probably very intimate details of the interworkings of your business. There's a lot of people who are concerned about sharing ideas. When we're dealing with people who are trying to start and launch businesses, they have very specific ideas. They have some proprietary items or some proprietary ideas that they want to keep private, but they need some coaching through that. That's where I could come in and keep everything secure. But, I am a third party, and I've actually had somebody talk to me about signing a non-disclosure agreement. And if that's something that you have to do for you to be comfortable, I am 100% fine with signing an NDA. But it's very similar in the sense that you have to be vulnerable enough to share what's really going on. Because if I don't really know what's going on in your head, then it's really hard for me to speak directly to what you're struggling with. We can be general as much as we can, but at some point I'm going to have to really dig down and find out what's going on. Because if it's something more than just, I've got a coworker that's difficult, or, I'm really struggling with a friend, or my spouse is really causing a problem in this area, that might be something that we need to take to somebody like you, like finding a counselor, because there's certain things a life coach is just not equipped to handle. But it is very similar, but not to the same degree. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. Okay.
All right. So there's a lot of different areas that you're going to touch on. And it's not limited strictly to the workplace. It has to do with people and your people relationships. And how about encouragement? I mean, would you say that there's an encouragement component here? Because sometimes people get so sick of things, and they say, I don't even want to bother with it anymore. How can you help those people?
The funny thing about making life changes is that most people already know the information that they need. If you're trying to lose weight, you already know most of the basics. Don't eat junk food. Don't eat after a certain time of the day. Make sure that you're getting enough exercise to get your heart rate up. We all know kind of those basic things. The real hard part comes in with the execution. And that's where I come in. That's where a coach or a trainer would come in, because we provide that extra motivation and accountability. So if you're struggling with something, I can give you all sorts of encouragement, and I can give you different ways of looking at things. I can give you a different perspective of the issues, the challenges, maybe the perceived challenges that you have. So one of the best things that I can do is encourage you through those problems. And I do that through, email, daily emails or weekly emails. I have my own newsletter that I send out, phone calls, text messages, whatever it takes to help keep you motivated. That's what I do. Because if you lose motivation, if you lose that passion for starting a new business or making dramatic life changes, if you lose that momentum, it's really hard to get that back. So once I help you create it, I'm going to help keep that ball rolling, that momentum going as much as I can, because I want you to succeed. I want you to make those changes. I want you to live life at the next level. And the one thing that I really don't want to do is leave you in the same way that I found you.
Oh, that's great, John. Sounds great. I know that you're a generous guy, but I'm sure you don't do this for ha-has. How do people pay for this?
Unfortunately, this is not something that would be covered by insurance, because I'm not a therapist. I'm not providing any type of counseling or therapy. But what I am providing is something that can be considered under continuing education. And you don't have to worry about it just being me. I am part of a company. It's not just paying some guy. You're paying into a company, so you can feel a little bit more confident that you're making payments to a legitimate business. We're governed by the United States. And that's the thing, because there's a lot of people out there who are not. There are a lot of people out there who put on the hat of, well, I'm a life coach, and then, do you mind making the check out to me personally? That's not what you would be doing. You would be making a check out to an actual business. And the thing is, if you're in a company that provides some continuing education, that's great. Maybe you can allocate some of those resources to compensate a life coach. And I highly encourage you to do that. But let's say that you don't have that. Let's say that you're literally paying this out of pocket. Is it worth the expense? I think that it's too expensive to not do. Because if you're trying to make some wholesale changes, you will make some changes. You will make some maybe major changes, but are they going to stick? Because it's just you going at the same problems the same way you've always tried. Bringing somebody in like me can provide you with some alternative ways of thinking about what you're doing, some alternative ideas, some alternative systems that you can incorporate into your daily life. And that's something that I think provides a lot of value. And anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. And anything that's worth having is going to cost you something. So yes, in the short term, it may be an expense that you might not be prepared for, but in the long run, the benefits are extremely great. And I think the rewards of paying for somebody like me, a life coach, to help you, it far outweighs the monetary expense that you're going to be paying each month.
Well, that's great. Let me ask you another question. I'm kind of running short on time here. I want to ask you, what if I had a business and I said maybe I have 25 or 30 employees and we have an office in an office building, and I'm having a lot of problems with my team, all the people who are my employees, getting along and focusing on the wrong thing and not being motivated. Could I, as a company, hire you to come in and give a talk and sort of dig into the areas and fix this up?
I would love to. I have done team training on several different businesses, nonprofit and for-profit. I lead best when I'm leading a team. In the situation that I'm in right now, I'm self-employed and I'm trying really hard to lead myself well. But I know that once we grow and I have people around me that I can help and we can work together, I'll be a little bit more comfortable because I'm in a different role than I've ever been before. So this is kind of a unique situation. But the cool thing is it allows me that experience of building my own company so that I can step into your business and I can talk to people at every level, from the CEO all the way down to your newest hire. I can come in and talk to groups of people, large and small, and I can talk to individuals, and I can try to find out what the biggest challenges are and the best way to fix them, or at least take the next right steps. And that might be a one-time event, a 1 or 2 or 3 day intensive, and I might be able to bring in some other people like you, Lou, who's a licensed psychotherapist who can speak to some of the more emotional and psychological issues that I'm not capable of speaking of. Or if you just want somebody to talk about working well as a team, I can do that very easily. I would love to come in and talk to a business. It's a lot more fun. The jokes seem to go over better. And the experience is great because team building in that environment just happens. We do some things in that environment that builds that camaraderie, that builds that loyalty, that really builds that team aspect of what we're trying to do in business is work together for a common goal. And I can do that for any length of time, for any size group.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think that people will be looking for in business, because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of morale problems. There's a lot of things that happen with interpersonal relationships in the workplace. Wrapping it up, John, what are your final thoughts on this? How can you help me if I need to get help and to make the decision, or help me make the decision whether or not to hire you?
The best thing I would encourage you to maybe take the next step in getting some type of help or some type of coaching is to contact me over at johncdonahue.com. You can find me at john@johncdonahue.com. You can send me an email. You can also send an email to questions@reallifepodcast.com, and it'll come to me as well. Lou and I both check that email. So if that's easier for you, you can do that. But reach out there. Reach out through social media. You can find me on Facebook and Twitter at John C. Donahue, and just message me or shoot me a message saying, hey, John, I'm struggling with this issue, and would you be willing and able to help? And the best thing that I would say is, let's schedule a time that we can talk. And after a 15, 20-minute conversation, I should be able to tell pretty quickly how I can help. And it's not something that you have to just start buying into the counseling right off the bat. If I'm on the phone with you and I don't think that can help you, I'll tell you. I have no problem telling you that. Some people might not, but I am not that kind of guy. If I can't help you, I don't want to waste your time or my time or your resources. So you really honestly have nothing to lose. Reach out. Let's see if we can work well together, and let's see if I can help you. I have a ton of experience. And if I don't immediately know the answer, I know a lot of people that can help me and help you find the answers that you need.
Well, that's great, John. That's great. Just want to add to this. John is probably the most encouraging and motivating person that you'll find. If these things are lacking in your organization or in your life in general, give John a call, contact him, send him an email, and put him to good use.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Well, guys, I hope that helped. I hope I answered some of your questions about why you may need a life coach and maybe made it easier. And if you don't reach out to me, if you don't reach out to Lou, reach out to someone, because we all need help from time to time. And it's not something you should be ashamed of, but it's definitely something that you should do to help you succeed and find all the success and happiness that you're looking for. If you'd like, you can reach myself or Lou at questions@reallifepodcast.com. You can also sign up for our newsletter over at reallifepodcast.com. We send out a newsletter each week filled with great information, articles that both Lou and I write about different topics. And we put a lot of things in there that we don't normally put on the website. Plus, there's a lot of other information there as well. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/reallifepodcast. You can also find us on Twitter at reallifecast. And so the last thing is I want to encourage you to come to our Monday Blabs, 3 p.m. every Monday on blab.im. We're starting a new series talking about emotions, and the first emotion we're going to be talking about is anger. Dealing with anger issues, right?
That's right.
Just dealing with easy topics all the time around here. That's what we do.
Non-controversial.
Yeah, non-controversial, really middle of the road kind of stuff. If you want to reach out to Lou, definitely visit him over at lifecarecounseling.net and get in touch with him. He's amazing, and he'll help you with whatever you're struggling with. Is there anything else that you need to say about this week, my friend?
No, sir. I think we got it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We want to encourage you to choose to be awesome. And always remember, real help, real hope, real life here at the Real Life Podcast. See you next week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Real Life Podcast. Find out more information and sign up for the Real Life Podcast newsletter at reallifepodcast.com. You can also learn more about our hosts, Lou Carfisi at lifecarecounseling.net and John Donahue at johncdonahue.com. And remember, live your life to the fullest. And as always, we want to encourage you to choose to be awesome, because when you choose to be awesome, you will be. Have a great week, everyone.